I want to talk to you about someone today that's been on my mind and my heart a lot recently, and that's John Lewis, Congressman John Lewis. And I had the honor and the opportunity 5 years ago to spend 30 plus minutes with Congressman Lewis in his office in Washington, D.C. And I just wanted to share some insights that I gained from that day. I mean, we had stories that we shared back and forth about family and politics and Congress and the civil rights movement, of course. But two things that stood out for me that day that you can't just sort of make up. This stuff is real life. Number one was, as we were talking about his march, which was on Bloody Sunday, March 7th, 1965, as he was leading the group across the Edmund Pettus Bridge from Selma on the way to Montgomery, Alabama. John Lewis came across the bridge at the front of the line, and they were met by state troopers who were loaded with tear gas and billy clubs and horses, and there were hundreds of them. And John was there with his backpack on and his trench coat on. He was dressed for, he looked sharp. He had a suit and tie on. And the head of the state troopers said, "Go back to your homes, go back to your churches." And as I was sitting there with Congressman Lewis, I said to him, when he said, "Go back to your churches" on this Sunday morning, I said, "Have you ever thought about those words that he said?" He said, "Yeah, even at the time," he said, "I thought they were really weird. Like, we had all left church to march in this march to Montgomery, Alabama. It was a Sunday morning." He said, "We weren't going back to church." And, the two of us sat there in his office laughing about this, just a very human moment, human, interchange. And then I said, "But like they were on you within minutes, and you were being beaten within an inch of your life. Literally, they were beating your skull in." And he said, "Yeah," he said, "these things happen so fast. And you're right. I mean, on the one hand, I'm sitting there going, what was that about? And the next minute, I'm fighting for my life." He said, "I've never regretted a day of my life. I would lay down my life for this country any day, any place." When he died on the 17th of July, I was thinking back to that moment of that very fun and intimate sharing. And the other thing that happened at the end of our visit, which went more than 30 minutes, was that his staff kept bothering him because they said, "You got to get to the floor for a vote, Congressman. You got to get to a floor for the vote." There was something happening on the floor of the House of Representatives. And he was talking to me as he was signing his graphic novel, March 1 and 2, to my son Daniel. He wanted to know about Daniel. And he kept asking me questions, and they're like poking their heads in, and we got to get out of there. And so I didn't think anything about it. I was answering questions about Daniel. And later that night, on my plane ride back from Washington to Columbus, I opened the books. And it said in March 1 and March 2 to Daniel, one of the world's great artists, love, John. And I thought to myself, that's an exceptional person. He looks for the best in everyone. He finds the best in everyone. He loves with genuine love, and he is present in the moment with those that are with him. And that was who John was. He spent his life fighting for the right for people to vote. And I'm making this today because I'm appealing to you to live out the vision of John Lewis and all those who fought for civil rights in this country, and vote. Register to vote. Do anything you can to vote. Vote November 3rd. You've got to show up to vote. There's legislation in the Congress right now that is the act around his name, around John Lewis, to make voting more fair and equitable for everyone in America. It should be a right of every citizen, men and women. I just want us to get behind this and get this done, to vote and fight for the vote and continue to carry on the vision of this incredibly transparent and real human being who has now gone before us to God. Thank you. Get out there and vote.